the official account of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Texas. And they say, quote, Operation Gatekeeper has exposed a sophisticated smuggling network that threatens our nation's security by funneling cutting-edge AI technology to those who would use it against American interests. These chips are the building blocks of AI superiority and are integral to modern military applications. And the country that controls these chips will control AI technology. The country that controls AI technology will control the future. The Southern District of Texas will aggressively prosecute anyone who attempts to compromise America's technological edge. And that's the image of him giving that statement at the podium in the great state of Texas. And we've got this from Rapid Response. That is this is President Trump's True Social account, of course. And he says, I have informed President Xi of China that the United States will allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries under conditions that allow for continued strong national security. President Xi responded positively. 25%, $25, 25%, I'm assuming it's 25%, will be paid to the United States of America. I'm sure it's not just 25 bucks. Anyway, this policy will support American jobs, strengthen U.S. manufacturing, and benefit American taxpayers. The Biden administration forced our great companies to spend billions of dollars building degraded products that nobody wanted. A terrible idea that slowed innovation and hurt the American worker. That era is over. We will protect national security, create American jobs, and keep America's lead in AI. NVIDIA's U.S. customers are already moving forward with their incredible highly advanced Blackwell chips and soon Rubin, neither of which are part of this deal. My administration will always put America first. The Department of Commerce is finalizing the details, and the same approach will apply to AMD, Intel, and other great American companies. Make America great again. And yeah, as far as the AI chips go, I believe it's under federal law that no technology company can export chips to China, and I believe that there is a list of countries that our most AI chips are banned from being sold to. And if I'm not mistaken, that the chips like the H200, I think it has to be a minimum of like 3 years or 4 years old. The technology that's built or integrated into those chips in order to be exported to China. And obviously that's done on purpose. So that way China's not getting the same chips that we're getting, because if China needs AI chips from the United States, we don't want to be giving them the same level of technology that we're using. We always want to be a step ahead. Okay, it's from David Sachs. One rule book for AI. I wanted to share a few thoughts on AI preemption and address some of the concerns. First, this is not an AI amnesty or AI moratorium. It is an attempt to settle a question of jurisdiction. And this is going to be a long post, so before I get into the details of that post, I'll just read President Trump's True Social that he posted. And it says, there must be only one rule book if we are going to continue to lead in AI. We are beating all countries at this point in the race, but that won't last long if we are going to have 50 states, many of them bad actors, involved in rules and the approval process. There can be no doubt about this. AI will be destroyed in its infancy. I will be doing a one rule executive order this week. You can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something. That will never work. And that seems to make sense. With regard to AI, maybe that is something that should probably be put on the federal level and written into the federal code somewhere. So, all right. So anyway, let's get into the weeds on this. So let's see. First, this is not AI amnesty or AI moratorium. It is an attempt to settle a question of jurisdiction. When an AI model is developed in state A, trained in state B, and inferenced in state C, and delivered over the internet through national telecommunications infrastructure, that is clearly interstate commerce, and exactly the type of economic activity that the framers of the Constitution intended to reserve for the federal government to regulate. Makes total sense to me. In the absence of preemption, 50 different states will assert their jurisdiction, creating a patchwork of 50 different regulatory regimes, often in contradiction with each other. Indeed, this is already happening. Over 1,200 bills have already been introduced in state legislatures, and over 100 measures have already passed. For example, states like Colorado, California, Illinois have made AI developers liable if their models contribute to algorithmic discrimination, which is defined as having a quote-unquote disparate impact on a protected group. Colorado's list of protected groups even includes English language proficiency, so presumably it's against the law for an AI model to criticize illegal aliens. Okay? So this type of ideological meddling is how we ended up with Black George Washington. This can't be allowed. AI models should strive for the truth and be ideologically unbiased. Only a federal framework can achieve this goal. The attempts of red states to protect conservatives from bias and discrimination, a worthy goal, will have limited effectiveness when blue states like California have the most market power and nexus to AI development. At best, we'll end up with 50 different AI models for 50 different states, a regulatory morass worse than Europe. This will stymie innovation, especially by small startups who can't afford the compliance burden. Meanwhile, China will race ahead. We can't afford this. As President Trump truthed today, we need one rule book for AI. But what about the 4 C's? Let me address those concerns. Number 1, child safety. Preemption would not apply to generally applicable state laws. So state laws requiring online platforms to protect children from online predators or sexually explicit material, CSAM, would remain in effect. Number 2, communities. AI preemption would not apply to local infrastructure. That's a separate issue. In short, preemption would not force communities to host data centers that they don't want. Number 3, creators. Copyright law is already federal, so there is no need for preemption here. Questions about how copyright law should be applied to AI are already playing out in the courts. That's where this issue will be decided. And number 4, censorship. As mentioned, the biggest threat of censorship is coming from certain blue states. Red states can't stop this. Only President Trump's leadership at the federal level can. In summary, we've heard the concerns about the 4 C's, and the 4 C's are protected. But there is a 5th C that we all need to care about: competitiveness. If we want America to win the AI race, a confusing patchwork of regulation will not work. As President Trump wrote today, quote, "There must be only one rule book if we're going to continue to lead in AI. We are beating all countries at this point in the race, but that won't last long if we are going to have 50 states, many of them bad actors, involved in rules and the approval process." To this end, President Trump has indicated that he will sign an executive order this week. This order will provide the tools necessary for the federal government to push back against the most onerous and excessive state regulation. At the same time, the administration will continue to work with Congress to define a federal framework that can be enacted through legislation. Thank you to President Trump for his extraordinary vision and leadership on AI and looking out for the interests of the entire country as the framers of the Constitution intended, and as only the President of the United States can do. Yeah, that was a long post. It's one of the longer ones I've read. So, yeah, man, very important. And I think there's definitely merit to that. As far as I know, when it comes to creating AI images, like just down on the user level, whether if it's images or if it's videos or if it's AI music, as far as I understand, if it's majority developed by AI, you can't copyright it. It's not allowed to be copyrighted, even if it's music, unless you I guess in one way or another, if you could prove that the majority of the work that went into it was just your work exclusively. So, but anyway, that's probably still playing out at the courts at this point.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.